Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the InterSim Esports Network once again for your Wednesday night. Tonight brings us again to the MSR TCR League for what will be round number 5. Your location tonight is the famous Imola circuit. My name is Aidan Schultz. Joining him in the booth tonight, as always, is Paul Jackson, ready to bring you all the action here on the InterSim Esports Network for what's going to be a chock-a-block round here for the MSR TCR League. Paul, good evening to you, mate.
Good evening, Aidan, and everyone tuning in tonight, and good to be poking my head back out from behind the cameras again for a little bit.
Yeah, good to have you on here, mate, and getting that dulcet tones here on the InterSim Esports Network ready for what's going to be amazing round number 5. I tell you what, they're in the qualifying session at the moment, 19 and a half minutes out of the 30 minutes they're in at the moment. But before we go through the standings, as you can see in the leaderboard on the left-hand side of your screens, let's just recap on the previous 4 rounds. I tell you what, it's been a chock-a-block season full of amazing talent, and what racing it's brought, and we're not expecting any different tonight here on the InterSim Esports Network.
No, definitely not. And leading the way into round 5 is still Tom Freer. So Tom's had a pretty good run. Phillip Island didn't really go Tom's way, but he's still holding on there. He's got a pretty solid lead, 200 points there. Damon Mulqueen in second spot there, 172. And Jordan Ross there, 148. But it's pretty close for that top 3, top third position there. There's Wayne Burke there having a good solid run in round 2 and round 4 with a couple of wins, and he's found his way up into 142 points. Only 6-point gap there to that third place. And Thomas Martin in our top 5 spot there on 130.
Yeah, it's been good driving by all drivers here for the MSR TCR League for what is Season 1. We can confirm we're going to be back bringing you Season 2 next season, so we look forward to that. But we've got a lot to get through before we get to Season 2. But as you see the championship standings there on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, when we do pop back across to the qualifying session, you'll see that your championship leader is at the top of the timesheets at the moment through this qualifying session with a provisional time of 1:54.05. Jordan Ross is now jumped up into the second position with a 1:54.07. So your championship protagonists in first and third showing a lot of pace around Imola early or late on in practice. I say early, we're 21 and a half minutes into 30, but your championship contenders not riding off second place, but Tom Freer and Jordan Ross doing everything they need to do here ahead of round number 5 to have a nice solid result tonight, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. But I noticed there's a few new faces in the mix tonight as well, and there was 2 names that I noticed in the list of drivers tonight, Aidan, and that was Jared Knight and Russ Green. And we know Jared Knight can be really fast in a Porsche, but he's in a Honda tonight, and Russ is in a Hyundai, so I wonder how those boys will go tonight in the TCRs.
Well, Jared Knight and Russ Green coming off the league, the Procar GTE Championship that we brought to you here on the InterSim Esports Network late last year. They've jumped across to support the MSR TCR League, which is really good. But Russ Green, you mentioned, he's currently in the 16th position in qualifying with a 1:55.5, not to be outdone by Jared Knight with a 1:55.45. So 15th and 16th respectively as we're on board with B, the big B, as we call him, Blake Urquhart, jumping out of the supercar into the TCR. He's up in the 9th position at the moment in with a 1:55.13. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is an open setup league, so they can do what they want to their cars. But I tell you what, whatever the likes of Tom Freer, Jordan Ross, and even Cody Death at the moment up into 3rd position. We haven't seen Cody up the front in many of the races early on in the MSR TCR League. He's now separating Jordan Ross and Thomas Freeman there in the 3rd position. So Cody Death having a really, really good qualifying here ahead of round number 5.
Yeah, definitely. I think we saw Cody's debut race last week, I think. So yeah, he's putting in some work and sitting up there in the 3rd spot, so it's a good little run from him.
Yeah, it is, and as we get into the latter stages of qualifying, we just see Blake Urquhart jump up into the 7th position with a 1:54.87. But this is probably the time we'll take check and we'll let you know the top 10 at least. You can see it on the left-hand side of your screen on the timing tower. But let's go through your top 10 in qualifying provisionally. We've still got another 6 minutes to go, so it can all change. But at the top at the moment is Tom Freer with a 1:54.05. Jordan Ross in second, 1:54.07. Cody Death there in third, as we mentioned, with a 1:54.54. So half a second between the top two and the next contender, Cody, there in third. Thomas Freeman in fourth with a 1:54.61. Damon Mulqueen rounds out your five provisionally with a 1:54.71. Adam Briggs in sixth, 1:54.74. Blake Urquhart there with a 1:54.87 in seventh. Lockhart Brownlee, I haven't seen his name much this year. He's up there in eighth with a 1:55.05. So a second between the top eight at the moment. Scott Hasler there in ninth with an identical time of 1:55.05. And Eddie Beswick there rounding out your 10 currently provisionally, Paul, with a 1:55.14. So a little bit of a gap at the moment between the first couple to third, and then the times are starting to drop off. But I tell you what, Imola can be a tricky track on the best of days, let alone these very tricky front-wheel drive TCR cars, mate.
Yeah, well, I can't really talk, so I don't own the track. So I haven't actually had a run around Imola yet, but it's on the bucket list to buy, of course, and build up my track list slowly. But yeah, turns 2, 3, and 4 there at Tumbarello. There's seen a few cars there getting into the sand traps early on into that turn 2 there.
Yeah, we find these cars. I've done a little bit. I did a race with Jai and Blake the other night in another league sort of like fun session, and they're a different car to drive. They drive really off the front. If you're putting your power down when you're on massive steering input, they just want to push off into the side. So they're a different car to drive. Not much horsepower in them, but very easy to get it all wrong. It's all about the flow. But it's good to see the drivers doing what they're doing at the moment. You talk about Imola. I did a couple of laps in the practice session before we went live, and I did it as a watch, so no one else knew I was out there. But I can let you know on the baseline, my time, and these guys aren't all on baseline, I don't think, because this is an open setup series. But on baseline, I was about a 1:55.5. So these guys are absolutely flying at the front of this one, as we are 26 and a half minutes now into the 30-minute qualifying. I'm not sure whether anyone's got anything for Tom Freer at the moment, because he's just gone quicker last time around, and he's dropped that provisional pole time down to a 1:54.02, Paul. Jordan Ross, 1:54.07. So they're trading lap times at the front of who's going to want to get pole here for round number 5.
And how close is that between Thomas Freer and Jordan Ross there? If you blink, you'd miss that one. But yeah, definitely a half a second there above third place. So those boys have been putting in some practice and definitely know what they're doing around Imola.
Yeah, most definitely. We've got some people tuning in on the chat, so we're 27 minutes into the 30-minute qualifying session. Jai Schultz has joined in saying Blake's competitive tonight. About time Blake got competitive. I tell you what, Blake, have a hard look at yourself, mate. But no, Blake Urquhart, always competitive in whatever he drives, so no surprise to see him up there in 7th in the 32 at the moment. Troy Mortensen says shit track, can't pull her up at turn 1. Sorry about the profanities, but I'm just copying what Troy said. So Troy's having a hard night at the office there by the looks of it, Paul, as we're getting into the back end of qualifying. We'll go down and I'll have a look at where Troy is in the qualifying session just to give him a little bit of airtime. He's down in 29th at the moment, so a long way back for Troy at the moment. But the way we've seen these, the MSR TCR League go in the first couple of rounds, I tell you what, it doesn't really matter. It could be anybody's, because lots of passing opportunities here around Imola, lots of long straights, lots of change of direction, and lots of chances for these drivers to make mistakes in what, as we see, probably Blake Urquhart or Jai Schultz there, I believe. Oh, no, it's Ford off into the sand trap. So lots of opportunities for these drivers to make some mistakes tonight. So we'll see how that happens as the race unfolds. But if Tom Freer and Jordan Ross show the pace they've got in qualifying at the moment, it's going to be very hard to pit those guys for the win tonight. But Cody Death's going to have something to say about it, as will Thomas Freeman, Damon Mulqueen, Adam Briggs. Blake Urquhart. Don't write Blake off tonight. He's a little bit of a dark horse. We'll see how he goes. Lockhart Brownlee, I'm interested to see how he goes as well in the number 7 in the 8th position, 154.97. About a second off the pace. We're on board with Ruben Phelps out of New Zealand. He's just getting back into the road racing scene. Really, really good through the oval side. Won quite a few championships and very, very competitive in the oval side, but he's jumped across into some road stuff now. And he's currently sitting in the 20th position with a 156.34. So good to see Ruben back out joining the MSR TCR League here for round number 5. He's been a supporter of the series since round number 1.
Yeah, he's definitely a worthy adversary on the oval stuff. So good to see Ruben on track and having a crack at some road series. And speaking of road series, I had a good little battle last night with Brad Fenley, who's in the TCR race tonight in the V8s around Monza in practice session with you, Aiden, last night.
Yeah, it was a good session last night. There was a lot of drivers out there. I think we got about 25 or 28 ahead of what will be round number 1 on Friday night. Don't want any self-promotion, but I'll do it. Global iRacing Leagues will be on Friday night for round 1 of the Supercar Series. We'll be from Monza, so that'll be good. Live broadcast on LRE Sports, so get across there and have a look at that. But tonight, it is all about the MSR TCR League here on the Indesim Esports Network. We're in the back end of qualifying now. It is just about done, and we're going to bring you a grid for what will be round number 5 of the MSR TCR E-Series here on the Indesim Esports Network. Imola. 33 laps, I believe it is, Paul, approximately. 35 laps around Imola. So a minute to nearly 2-minute lap times. We're going to be live here on the broadcast for about an hour and 20 minutes broadcasting this one. So I tell you what, we're getting our money's worth tonight, mate. 2-minute lap times in TCRs for a 35-lap race. So I hope you got your voice box there as one of the drivers just takes a bit of a shortcut there through. But we're about to bring up the grid here for what will be round number 5 of the MSR TCR League. From Imola, the famous Imola, not quite yet. Are they doing a warm-up session or is it still going? So,
qualifying still going there. So it's just finishing up. It's the
35-minute session. Sorry, I thought it was a.
No, it is a 30. It is a 30-minute session, but that timer looks like it's counting really fast in those seconds, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused, but it's still going. So we'll see where Graham goes across the line here if he can make a bit of a better lap, because usually would be into the race session, and he jumps straight up into 19th. So he took advantage of that little glitch that might have happened with iRacing and gone, thank you, I'm going to 19th, boys. So we'll see you on the grid. Thank you, Jai, for letting me allow me to mention my series on the broadcast. I might do it 1 or 2 times during the league, during tonight, but I tell you what, it's all about the MSR TCR League here on the Indesim Esports Network. If you are tuning in here on the Indesim Esports Network, make sure you let us know you are tuning in and following us. Put a comment down in the Facebook chat or the YouTube chat. You can follow us across both our Facebook and YouTube channels. Of course, be sure to share it. Of course, be sure to share it to everyone so they don't miss all the action when we go live. So there you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I'll let Paul go through the race info for you tonight for what will be round 5 at Imola for the MSR TCR League.
A little bit of info there. So track length 4.86 kilometres, temperatures 34 degrees, altitude 42 metres. And I think track temp is actually 34 degrees, and weather temp's 22 with 36% humidity, 5k winds, and partly cloudy. And obviously Aidan Schultz and myself, Paul Jackson, will be bringing you the race tonight.
We will be, and we're about to go and bring you the grid here for what will be round number 5. So off the pole will be Tom Freer, Jordan Ross out of second, Cody Death and Thomas Freeman off the second row, Damon Mulqueen and Adam Briggs off the third row. Blake Urquhart and Lockhart Brownlee out of 7 and 8. Scott Hasler and Eddie Beswick out of 9. Sorry, Eddie Beswick out of 10 rather. We've got Mel, DeBono, Ford, Johnston, Brunt, Knight, Green, Smith, Graham, McLeod, Phelps, Pavlovich, Leslie, Fenley out of 24th position. 25th will be Cook. 26th, Koch. Thomas, 27th. Tomlin, 28th. Mortensen, 29th. Kelleher, 30th. Burse in 31st. Burke in 32nd. Swan in 33rd. Fourth position, Stuart Pattinson. Jai Schultz out of 35th. And we've got... Smith in 36 and Matthew Boylett rounding out your 37 starters. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, my screens are playing up a little bit tonight, so I'm struggling to see, so just bear with me. Paul will carry me through the broadcast as he always does, but we're about to go green here for what is round number 5 of the MSR TCR League here from Imola. Off the pole will be Tom Freer and Jordan Ross. Who's going to get the jump? Tom Freer is on the preferred line down into turn number 1. Who's going to get the jump? Will we see action from the middle pack? I tell you what, don't take your eyes off the screen here on the InterSim Esports Network, because this change of direction in turn number 1 and 2 is definitely going to sort the races from the pretenders. So there we go, Tom Freer there in the 707, ready to launch the car. The Synergy Sim Racing car. It's Synergy Sim Racing front row lockout. The lights are on. We're about to go green here for round number 5. The revs rise. 5 green lights, and we're green for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League here from Imola. I tell you what, was that Thomas Freeman? No, it wasn't. That second row absolutely stopped. But Cody Deeth, what an absolutely amazing start down into turn number 1. There's a big wreck down. Oh, I tell you what, race control is going to have something to say about that. Graham, Leslie's a part of that. There's cars everywhere, so we'll go just focus back at the front, and we've gone caution. We've gone caution with the big wreck early on here for round number 5. I tell you what, Paul, I wasn't expecting a wreck before turn number 1. I was possibly expecting one at turn number 1, but we got one early for our money, so hopefully all the boys have got that out of their system early on in this one, mate.
Yeah, for sure, and we might just jump back to a replay there, and we'll just check out what happened there, Aiden.
100%. Let's go have a look and bring the viewers what happened here off the start for the round 5 at Imola. So we'll go back to that replay when we can bring you that action. Looks like there might be a few from what I'm hearing in my ear. So we'll just have a look at that as they make their way down the straight. So they're all lined up. What a deep field of TCRs here around Imola. How good does that look on the InterSim Esports Network? Cars are plenty. Lots of wheel spin by everyone down the straight. So they get going. Everyone's trying to find their track position. There's cars going everywhere. It's like a swarm of bees going down the main straight at Imola. And looks like, oh, there's a car on the grass. If there's a way to pass, it's on the grass. He actually got away with it, that car on the grass on the inside. So that was actually not bad driving, but that had already happened in front. So looks like that was about seven or eight cars in front of where that accident actually happened. So Jason Thomas involved in that. He's not going to like that one. But back to the instant replay again. We'll have another look at that one. See if we can get exactly where the incident happened. So just bear with us. We'll try and bring that information up for you. So here we go again. We're off the start. We're a little bit further down now, I think, focusing. It happens just in front of this battle. There it is there. So contact there between Damien Johnston and another car, or Johnston actually getting sent into the fence. And now it's just a chain reaction. Everyone trying to avoid. Brock Smith involved in that one as well. Cars left, right and centre. Not a lot the preceding drivers could do there, Paul, doing approximately 160, 170 kilometres an hour with these amount of cars and the track being completely blocked. It's pretty much close your eyes and try and hit a gap.
Yeah, definitely.
No, you go, Paul. Sorry.
Definitely a bit of brake lock, bit of smoke there, and definitely makes it a bit harder to see on the track and get through the carnage.
Yeah, it does make it hard. I tell you what, I'd like to be in Tom Freer and Jordan Ross's position because they are clear at the moment. But this is going to back the pack up ready to go green once again. We're probably not going to go green next time around. We might actually, because the pace car's going off into the distance a little bit. They're backing up the pack, just letting everyone catch up. I see Darren McKenzie tuning into the chat as well. Good evening to you, D-Mac. Looking forward to Sunday for the Bathurst 1000 with you, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. It's going to be a hell of a night of racing tonight here for the MSR TCR League on the Indesim Esports Network. Daniel Winrow, good luck, Erky. Thanks for tuning in, Daniel. Yeah, Erky's going all right. He's in 8th position. He's just down 1 position on his starting position at the moment. So Blake Urquhart, that you just mentioned, mate, in the 8th position. So Blake doing well in this one. But we'll run through your 10 that we're going to go when we go back green, what your top 10 is going to look like. So Tom Freer and Jordan Ross will be 1 and 2. It'll be followed by Cody Death, who got an absolute stonker of a start there in 3rd position. He was fighting for the first 2 positions into turn number 1 here at Imola before that yellow came out. Adam Briggs, he had a good start. He's up 2 positions into 4th. Thomas Freeman's just dropped the 1 position in 5th. He will do this restart in 5th. Scotty Hasler, he started out at 9. He's now in 6th. So he's had a good start and he'll be starting the restart out of P number 6. Damon Mulqueen will start out of 7th on this restart. Blake Urquhart will start out at 8th. Eddie Beswick in 9th, and Neville Mell will start this restart out of P number 10. But not sure if we're going to go green this time around. It looks like that the pace car lights are still on. I'll just have a look. They are still on. So not sure we're going green this time around. So we might take this opportunity to just let everyone know about other stuff on the Indesim Esports Network, stuff that we're doing, and it's our broadcast network, Paul, so we might be able to do a little bit of self-promotion here while the guys are running around under green. Of course, it's all about the MSR TCR League here on the Indesim Esports Network tonight. But we're actually joining up. We did our first team race the other week at Bathurst in our Indesim car. And first time, are we seeing people, they're faking into pit lane, a little bit of fakies. But we did our first, we've teamed up before on a 24-hour, but we did our first actual proper Bathurst 1000 together. And then we've got a Bathurst 1000 this weekend for the Crisscross Racing Bathurst 1000. And you've just plonked yourself into my team again, mate. Like, you just follow me around everywhere. You're not driving with me on Sunday, but back in the same colours again and running around. I bet you're excited for that one to do another 1000.
No, our car colours look better, Aiden, sorry. And I'm sure Andy Barber and Race Control there will agree. But yeah, I did offer up my seat, and you actually got the drive you wanted with D-Mac there. And yeah, then Andy was like, well, I need a teammate now. So he reached out and asked if I still wanted to run it. And I said, yeah, why not? So good to jump in there and yeah, go for another Bathurst 1000, as much as I didn't want to, but didn't have much else on. So I said, why not?
Yeah, well, it's good to see you in there, mate. We'll have a 3-car team in the field for what we're doing. But I tell you what, a lot of these drivers, or some I know, that are going to be in there for the Bathurst 1000 as well. So a lot of these drivers you'll see on Sunday as well for the Bathurst 1000. But also, we spoke about the Global iRacing Leagues. We'll quickly mention that one. So Global iRacing Leagues, if you haven't heard about it already, jump onto Facebook, jump on and follow them, jump onto iRacing, become a member of the league. They run 3 leagues a week. So starting this Sunday will be round number 1 of the Inside Lane Productions V8 Supercar Series from Monza. It will be an absolute stonker. We're expecting 55 cars to take us there. So it'll be broadcast live on the LR Esports, Mr. Peter Gretton, so you won't miss any of the action. Live race control, everything. So get amongst that. We also have an IndyCar series on a Monday night starting Monday, and then there will be a NASCAR series starting in February, which will follow pretty much the real-world schedule. So if you're into a little bit of mix-up and something different, jump on to Global iRacing Leagues, everything broadcast, live race control, get amongst it. There's no entry fee or anything like that as well, so get amongst it, and yeah, we're excited to see that. But anyway, back to the MSR TCR League. I'm sure we'll see the Porsche pace car come into pit lane this time around. So they make their way back into the final section of Imola. The pace car will come in as he makes his way through the final two turns as they come down the hill. and it will be in the hands of Tom Freer, Jordan Ross. Well, Tom Freer rather, but Jordan Ross behind him. But I tell you what, Paul, with this putting the field right back together, no standing start, look out for fireworks at turn number 1 when you see the draft down this very long main straight at Imola down into turn number 1.
Definitely, and Tom Freer is going to be taking that green as he just backs up the field a little bit into the last corner there. And pace car will be off, and we're about to go green flag again.
We are going green flag. No surprise. Synergy Sim Racing 1-2 at the moment. Tom Freer and Jordan Ross. When Tom Freer is going to drop the jandle, and he's done it, and he's off. He's got the jump on Jordan Ross. Cody Death there, he did a good job. Jordan Ross got left a little bit sleeping there. That's going to leave him a little bit open for attack here down into turn number 1 from Cody Death. Is Cody going to have a look up the inside, or is he going to err on the side of caution? It looks like he's going to err on the side of caution there. Don't ride off. You got Adam Briggs there in 4th position as well. So this has really brought them all back together, of course, through caution. But good job by all the drivers making their way through the first section of turns there, through turns number 1, 2 and 3. Tom Freer leading the way. Oh, Jordan Ross very deep there into the change of direction. Good job to pull the car up there, Paul. I tell you what, if I did that, I'd end up in the sand trap. But that's allowed Cody Death to get a good run in there. So what we're noticing early there, now we've actually got some race laps or about to get race laps under the belt. You don't want to run in too hard, because you saw Jordan Ross run really hard in. He got good mid-corner speed, but it really sacrificed him to Cody Death behind. So Jordan Ross is really in a hard spot at the moment. He's trying to race the leader, but at the same time, he's trying to defend the position to Cody behind. So he's got to race 2 races at the moment, and the more he looks backwards and not looks at Tom Freer, it's going to allow Cody Death to just keep pressuring him in the rear vision mirror. So it looks like that's happening now. So if you're Cody, you just keep putting that car in a weird position where Jordan thinks you're going to make a move, but still Adam Briggs there in 4th, Thomas Freeman in the 5th position, Scott Hasler 6th, Damon Mulqueen in 7th, and we're on board with Adam Briggs now at the moment, who's in the 4th position. But these front 3 guys just slowly edging away from Adam Briggs here as we're about to do our first green flag lap of racing. But then, as I say, that Adam Briggs just makes up a lot of time through the double left-hander, making their way back onto the main straight for the first time of green flag racing. Lap 4 of 35. This time across Tom Freer will start the 5th lap. But I'll tell you what, Paul, we had a pretty interesting start, but it was good to see all the drivers there nice and clean there on the restart, and we're going green flag for the next 30, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely, and I think just the standing start might have just caused a little bit of grief for a few, and maybe some people just not getting off the line nice and clean caused that caution. But the rolling start, everyone's got away nice and clean, and hopefully that's the only caution we'll see tonight.
Hopefully for the boys. I tell you what, some of the guys at the mid to the back will probably want another caution, but tell you what, it's good. Look at those images here on the InterSim Esports Network as they make their way through the change of direction. Great images, but we'll just let you watch the racing as it unfolds here. You can see the depth of the field, how many drivers have attended here for round number 5 at Imola for the MSR TCR League. They just keep coming, they keep coming, they keep coming, and they keep coming. But we go back to a static cam and we'll watch the leaders make their way through here. So Tom Freer, Jordan Ross, Cody Death, Adam Briggs, Thomas Freeman, Scott Hasler, Damon Mulqueen, Nevin Meld, Dylan DeBono, Blake Urquhart, Dylan Burse. Did I do that quick enough for you, Paul? But what I've noticed, I know we're only a couple of laps green after the restart, Paul. What I have noticed is Tom Freer and Jordan Ross have not jumped off into the lead, into the distance, which I thought they might have done, being half a second quicker in qualifying. So Cody Death definitely keeping an honest there in 3rd, and that's allowing Adam Briggs and Thomas Freeman to hold on to the back of this little lead pack at the moment, and even Scott Hasler and Damon Mulqueen and Neville Mel just in the background there. So the Synergy Sim Boys cars not pulling away from the likes of Cody Death and Adam Briggs as much as I possibly would have thought it would have happened with the disparity of times in qualifying. Cody Death doing a great job, and he's actually going to put himself in a position to possibly have a passing opportunity on Jordan Ross down here into turn number 1 as he's in the draft, but he's raced well so far. He's a little bit too far back there. It'd be a big move there into turn number 1 with how squirrely these cars are under brakes. But yeah, exactly as I said there, Paul, these JK Sign Synergy Sim Racing cars are not streaking away at the front as much as I thought they may have.
Yeah, it looks like Tom Free is trying to stretch his legs there a little bit over Jordan Ross, and every time that gap just starts to creep open, Jordan closes that gap again. So everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses around this track in the corners, and everyone's sort of sitting quite nicely tucked in behind each other, single filers. No real sort of dive bombing into corners or anything like that to make a pass. Everyone giving each other a lot of respect and a lot of race room as well.
Oh, as Cody Deese just gets really deep under the brakes there. Sorry, Paul. He got really deep under the brakes and nearly went up the butt of Jordan Ross. So, yeah, exactly. They've all got their strengths and weaknesses, but I think what these guys are noticing in these TCR cars, they've done it for the last 4 rounds, and this being round number 5, you start making a move, it's going to drag everyone up behind you right in to be able to battle you as well. Blake Urquhart's had an issue. So Blake Urquhart, after being in the top 10 or top 11, he's had an issue. And that's going to put him right down the field. So we'll come back to Blake in a second. We'll watch him as he just rejoins the track. There's going to be cars everywhere trying and make a position on him. Trying. Oh, wow, that's good commentary, Aiden. Well done. Blake Urquhart, so he's popped right down to 22nd. Let's go back to a replay and have a look at what happened to the driver of Blake Urquhart there. So very tricky downhill braking section when we come through this replay. It's a change of direction. The car gets really light in the rear end here, catches a bit of curb, and he got a bit of help, did he? He got a bit of help, bit of net code there, sort of a little bit of help. So Dylan Burst there trying to make the move on Blake Urquhart, and it was a bit of a tappy-roo, and that sent the MSR entry around. So Blake's got a lot of work to do, but Dylan knew he did the wrong thing there. See how Dylan's just stopped? He's readdressed, so that is good driver etiquette by Dylan there, and that's what we like to see, Paul.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of respect there for Blake. Obviously, Dylan just having a little bit of a moment there, couldn't quite pull up into the corner, and unfortunately for Blake, but I'm sure Blake will make his way back through the field.
No doubt he will. He's already up 2 spots since the last time I started talking about him rather. So up 2 spots at the moment. He's going to chase down the driver in front of him in 19th, which is Dylan Burse again. So Dylan's got back past him after readdressing that one. So this battle's going to reignite again as Dylan just, as I say that, gets a little bit on the grass there and does a little bit of snow plowing there on the grass. I don't know how he kept that in front of Blake there, but he did, and it's status quo, and we keep going. Lap 7 into 36, taking a lot on exit through there. Not sure if that's getting the next point, but they're definitely using all of the track as we come down to the same place. And Dylan Burse is going to have a big moment, and there is a little bit of karma in motorsport, ladies and gentlemen. You see it right there as he goes really, really wide. He's still in front, but now he's going to let Blake Urquhart get that position. So Blake Urquhart and Dylan Burse, though that corner has not been friendly to them for the last 2 laps, Paul.
Definitely not. I'm just got to jump up here. A little bit of a battle there. So Wayne Burke up 14 spots. He was up 17. So a little bit of a heated battle here going on with Nathan Smith and Matthew Brunt in front here as well.
Yeah, and he's in a JK Sign sandwich as now he's just been pushed out of that. So 2 more Synergy Sim Racing entry cars. Wayne Burke making the move in the JK Signs car. My apologies. But tell you what, the Synergy Sim Boys cars are definitely making an appearance here for the MSR TCR League. 4 entries tonight. So, but Wayne Burke usually a little bit more further to the front. Oh, as he gets really loose. See how twitchy those cars are on the rear, being a front-wheel drive. Very good driving there by Wayne to keep that car underneath him on the turn-in. But yeah, the Synergy Boys with a good turnout here for the MSR TCR League. But while we're in this battle, usually we look at the front. Let's give drivers mid-pack at the moment a little bit of airtime. We'll shut up for a minute. Let's go on board with someone we haven't been on board with before. Let's go on board with the 14th place Lockhart Brownlee and jump on board. Let's do a lap or 2 around Imola here for the MSR TCR League here on the InterSim Sports Network. Well, I'll tell you what, we picked a good driver to go on board with, Lockhart Brownlee there. Well, there was a few battles that we heard on some of the chat. People lost sound, but no, we've still got sound. I just turned it up on the broadcast. It might have been because we're in car. You could just hear the engine, not my dulcet tones and Paul's dulcet tones, but too wide there in front. But it was good to be on board there with the driver we haven't been on board with yet for the MSR TCR League, and it is Lockhart Brownlee there in the 14th position in car number 7. Have a look at this in front. Have a look at this in front. This is spicing up in front here, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. Wayne Burke's up 20 spots now, so he's making his way through, but he's got a bit of a cluster of cars and some good little battles going on here as Wayne's trying to make his way through the field.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a battle pack at the moment. I just got to have a look at something here, and I'll be right back to you guys. Just having a look at what we're going through at the moment. Just trying to make sure we're bringing you all the action properly here on the InterSim Esports Network and making sure everybody is seeing what we're seeing and making sure we're bringing you all the action correctly. So, all right. So, Cameron McLeod there in the 12th position. You're getting very racy as well. So, he's the piggy in the middle. You see... Yeah, Darren, give us some feedback on that sound, mate. Engine was a little bit too low, apparently, so we turned iRacing up, see if we can hear that. But Cameron McLeod there in the 12th position. He's having a good battle with Wayne Burke. Wayne Burke's got the job done. So Wayne Burke is the mover of the race at the moment. Started out of the 32nd position. He's up into 11th, 21 spots, if you don't mind. Last time around, a 155.4. Last time around, was a 155.8. The only people quicker on track, no one's quicker on track at the moment than Wayne Burke. So Wayne Burke showing a clean set of heels and completely carving his way through the field here, 11 laps into 35 around Imola, Paul. He is absolutely setting some massive lap times. So last time around, making a pass with a 156.88. The leaders are in the 157s. So Wayne Burke in the 86th and the 11th position doing a great job.
Aidan Ford there actually doing a little bit faster lap, did a 156.4, so 4/10 faster there than Wayne Burke. So Aidan Ford's having a really good run by the looks of it as well.
Must be in the name. It definitely must be in the name because Aidan Ford doing a great job. It's got to be in the name, but if I was behind the car, I'd be in about 400th position, and there's only 35 cars in the race. So anyway, back to the little battle pack here at the front. So it still is all on at the front. No one's got away from each other. How good is this? Tom Freer and Jordan Ross still leading the way. Cody D still holding on to the back of this front too as they make their way down into this very tricky braking section for the little tight chicane. Adam Briggs, Scott Hasler, Neville Mell, and that's your top 6 at the moment. So they've got about another second to Dylan DeBono, who's in 7th. You can see him just in the back, but this is going to close up very, very quickly because we're going to see the likes of Tom Freer, Jordan Ross, Cody Deeth, Adam Briggs, Scott Hasler, and Neville Mell start fighting each other. We're 11 into 35. We're nearly getting into pit stop territory. So it's going to be a double pit stop night tonight, I believe, with this fuel drop. So we're going to get into pit stop territory very, very shortly. This is going to sort the men out for the boys, or the races out from the pretenders, as they say, because we are gender neutral here in iRacing and the InterSim Esports Network. But it's been a great job by all the drivers at the front early in this one after we had that early caution. It's just a big freight train. It's where do you look, Paul? You're on board at the moment with Dylan DeBono there in 7th. He's just off the back of Neville Mell, but I'm sure if these guys start battling at the front in the space of one corner, he's going to drag right up onto the back of him. As you can see there through the change of direction, he makes it a little bit of time there on Neville Mell. But going into the tight hairpin here, he pulls right up onto the back of Neville Mell, and now we've got a 8-car battle for the lead of this motor race, Paul.
Yeah, definitely, and just trying to jump over some barriers as a horse here. One of my daughters is giving me a game to try and squeeze in here so I can get past. But
Mate, you're doing triple duties. You're doing cameras, you're commentating, and you're playing with horses.
Yeah.
How good is that, mate?
Oh yeah, pretty good. But this race is pretty full on tonight, isn't it? Everyone's there's no one breaking away tonight. Everyone's all thereabouts.
Oh, a bit of a touch there too, Paul. You see that? A little bit of a touch. A little bit of how you're going, coming up into the braking zone. Still no harm, no foul. That was Neville Mell giving Scotty Hasler a little bit of a hurry up there, down going into the braking zone there.
Definitely, and we've got a 9-car battle now that's caught up to this pack here, and Aiden Ford and 10th there's quickly catching up as well. So Damon Mulqueen 9th there on board with at the moment, and starting to become quite a bit of a train at the front here, isn't it? A few guys jumping into pit lane now. Sorry, Aiden. Neville Mell, Dylan DeBono, and Aiden Ford now as well jumping in there.
Yeah, so they're going the undercut now. So this is the undercut strategy. So if they can transition through pit lane as quick as they can and nice, hit their marks, get out, they'll have an extra lap out there on some fresher tyres, and they will possibly be able to undercut this lead battle. So not sure how that'll play out. We'll see that in the coming laps when Tom Freer, Jordan Ross and Cody Death, even Adam Briggs decides to come into pit lane. So this is where the strategies are starting to play out with 13 into 35. We're only a third of the way through the race, ladies and gentlemen, and just over a third, well, we're nearly bang on a third of the race. So what those drivers are doing there, turning their races into thirds. So 13 is 26, and then a 10-lap run to the end. So Tom Freer, Jordan Ross at the moment, they're extending their fuel at the moment at the front. So they definitely went for the undercut, those drivers that just went into pit lane, because otherwise, if they'll struggle on fuel, Tom Freer and Jordan Ross, who's led this race from start to finish at the moment, would have come in for not having enough fuel. So they've gone for the undercut. But where this will be interesting later on in the race, ladies and gentlemen, why you do not tune off the InterSim Esports Network for this one is because the likes of Tom Freer, Jordan Ross, Cody Death, all these drivers, Adam Briggs even there, they're going to have a shorter last stop, and it's going to do a complete reverse. So we'll see what happens with the drivers that come into pit lane and see where that puts them on track. Are they going to have traffic that didn't, are they going to have traffic that didn't pit, and they're going to come out in traffic which isn't going to allow them to have as good a pace as what they could to do this undercut? So we'll see what happens. Are they going to come into pit lane this time around? It looks like we've got another 3 drivers coming into pit lane this time around. So that is Scotty Hasler, Thomas Freeman and Mulqueen making their way into pit lane. So that leaves Tom Freer, Jordan Ross, Cody Death and Adam Briggs still out. Lap car there, just getting out of the way as they make their way down into the turn number 1 and 2, change of direction. So 4-car lead at the battle now, at the battle of the lead of this motor race rather. And I'm still interested to see where these other drivers come out after trying to get this undercut, Paul. So was it the right move? Did they put themselves back in the pack and not be able to have the race pace that they needed to get this undercut done? Or did they put themselves in a good position to be able to get some clean laps out and possibly take the jump of the lead of the motor race over Tom Freer, Jordan Ross, Cody Death and Adam Briggs that we see battling it at the front at the moment? So we're still on board as we see, we look at Wayne Burke there just in the background. So Wayne Burke up 27 positions. He started out of the 33rd position. He is now 4.3 seconds off the lead of this motor race, and that's on pure pace. He hasn't pitted. These 4 drivers in front haven't pitted either, haven't gone through pit lane. So this is pure pace by the 86 of Wayne Burke. And if he keeps going, he's going to be one to beat in this one. We'll have a look at his last lap time, 155.79 to Tom Freer, the leader, of 157.41. So Wayne Burke nearly took 2 seconds out of the leader last time around. He has just got some amazing pace in that 86 Synergy Sim Racing car in 5th place at the moment, and he's making every post a winner. And he's going to put himself in a position to be battling for this top 10 and actually battling in the top 10 to be able to race for the race win. Here we go. Now he's going undercut time. So, oh no, they're all going in except Cody Death. He decides to stay out. So Wayne Burke follows the leader. So we've got Tom Freer, Jordan Ross, Adam Briggs and Wayne Burke in pit lane. And Cody Death decides to stay out and go, I'm going to go another one. So don't know if this is the right strategy here from Cody Death. But Jared Knight's up into 6th spot as well. I can see there on my live timing. He's been through pit lane, but he went through pit lane on lap 7. So that's why he's got the massive undercut. So, excuse me, as I get a frog in my throat. Jared Knight there. He's going to struggle back in the back end of this race with strategy, bar there being a pace car. But he's now jumped into 5th position, and he's jumped in front of, where is he at? So he's up into 2nd now. So he's jumped Scott Hasler, Tom Freer and Thomas Freeman. But
Scotty Hasler in pit lane there, and he's actually jumped the leader of Thomas Freer. And Jordan Ross has actually fallen to the back of that lead pack that come into pit lane. So Scotty Hasler having a real good pit stop.
Yeah, Scott Hasler with a great pit stop there, as you mentioned. Obviously, might have been Freeman there that you were mentioning. He's dropped back to 14th. Tom Freer, sorry. Tom Freer sitting there in 5th. So Tommy Freeman in 4th, sorry. Tom Freeman in 5th. So here's the battle for that now as we're on board with Thomas Freeman. Just backs out of that one through this double left-hander, very fast left-hander. So Tom Freeman up into the 4th position in the 015. Doing a great job. Very tricky section down into here. So this is where it's all playing out through those pit lane strategies. Jared Knight is the best of the strategies at the moment, leading the motor race. He is in the 2nd position. He pitted on lap 7. He pit 6 laps earlier than these guys. So Scott Hasler at the moment does have the lead of this motor race when these first pit stops do all play out. So Scott Hasler is in the prime position. You can see him just up the road there. We're on board with him there in front of Tom Freeman and Jared Knight. So Scott Hasler, a great stop there. We'll let you know their pit lane times. I'm just having a look now. Scott Hasler, 14.68 seconds. And Tom Freeman, 15.47, 14.9, 14.9. So not much of a quicker pit lane time then by Scotty Hasler. It could have just been the entry and exit where he absolutely killed it, and that's what it was allowed, and that's what's allowed him to go in. But Deese just come out from serving his pit stop as well, so he's come out in 4th place. So Jared Knight has now taken the lead of the motor race. He's off strategy at the moment, but Scott Hasler, I tell you what, great pit stop strategy, great transition through the pit lane, but Jared Knight leading this motor race as we are 16 into 35 laps, so 19 laps to go here for the MSR TCR. Oh, there's a big send there. Jared Knight wasn't involved in that. Sorry, was that Scott Hasler and Tom Freeman? Matthew Brunt was involved in that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I do apologise. Having issues with some screens tonight, so I'm trying to bring you all the action I can, but we'll see how we go. If you are tuned in on the InterSim Esports Network, as we go back to the front with Jared Knight and that Mobil 1 entry, he's going to have to come into pit lane, I'd suggest, in the next 2 or 3 laps, but he's got 2 seconds the better of Scott Hasler. Then it's an 8/10 gap to Tom Freeman and Jordan Ross behind them. So, Paul, what do you reckon of this strategy of Jared Knight at the moment? No surprise to see him at the front of the motor race. We've called him at the front of plenty of motor races, and straight here in the MSR TCR League, started out at 16th in first at the moment. A little bit off kilter with strategy after coming into pit lane on lap 7, but track position's key sometimes, and he's doing a great job in the lead of this one.
Yeah, definitely. We know Jared can be quite quick, and he's obviously utilising that clean track in front of him to get a little bit of a gap to help himself. But obviously he pitted on lap 7, Aiden, so he pitted half distance to everyone else almost. So he's going for that early pit stop early on, and his final pit stop's going to be a little bit longer than everyone else's. So we'll have to see how that works out for Jared.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, right? So we'll put it in perspective here. So lap 13 or 14 is about the lap that you're going to get out of a tank of fuel. So he pitted on lap 7. We're currently lap 17, so we can expect him to blink and come down into pit lane on approximately lap 20-21. So if he can get to that magic number of 21 and possibly save a little bit of fuel, he's going to make it all the way to the end. Whereas these guys behind also are going to have to do one more stop. But like you just mentioned, Jared's pit stop time's going to be longer than the likes of Hasler, Freeman, Ross and Deef. So where this will put Jared Knight after the second round of green flag pit stops, that's going to be the question, whether he's going to have something to fight, whether he's going to be able to be up there to be able to challenge for the lead of this motor race in the back end or the back stages of the race. That is yet to be seen. We're about to find out in the next 3 or 4 laps where he falls into the race and where he falls in regards to all the other drivers. But we'll go back. Tristan Koch having a good run. He's there in 20th place. I can see him there in the timing. So he's not doing too bad. Tristan Koch, ex-teammate of mine in that Liqua Moly entry, is in the 20th place. He's having a nice solid drive there for his second outing here for the MSR TCR League. He had a decent run last week and he's having another decent run tonight. So good to see Tristan having another good run. I think he's still teammates with Ruben Phelps out of New Zealand. So can't see Phelpsy there on the... Ruben Phelps actually is up into the 15th position. So couldn't quite see him on my live timing. So Ruben Phelps doing a good job there in 15th position. He's been through pit lane once as well. He's got Russ Green, who's no mug, behind him as well. He'll be all over the back of Ruben Phelps sooner rather than later. So Ruben Phelps has now just come into pit lane. So strategy is playing everything here. We'll see Ruben Phelps. We'll have a look at him. So Ruben Phelps into pit lane. That's his second time into pit lane, Paul, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think I caught he pitted on lap 6, so he went for a little early pit stop as well. So Ruben's off strategy, a little bit similar to Jared Knight, but I don't think Ruben's going to quite be able to make it home yet. But this gap to Jared Knight at the front here, Scotty Hassler's closing that gap down. It's just under a second now. So Scott Hassler's ranging up on the back of Jared Knight for the lead of this race.
He most definitely is. Thomas Freeman just there in the background as well. So Tom Freeman's only 3/10 off the back, and then Jordan Ross half a second off the back. But if you have a look at that, we might be talking about times and gaps, but it's pretty much a gap as you see it. There's not really a gap there. Apart from that, that's about a second between Jared Knight and Scott Hasler. That's what a second looks like. But apart from all the other drivers, we might talk about 3/10, 4/10. But it's really nothing here for the MSR TCR League because they're pretty much nose to tail as they make their way through the final 2 turns onto the main straight here at Imola for what will be starting lap 19 of 35 here for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League. But if you are tuning in, as I say, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in here on the InterSim Esports Network on your Wednesday night, be sure to let us know you're tuning in. Put a drop a comment there into the comments as we see a move now. Scotty Hasler has a move by Jordan Ross, was that? No, it wasn't. Scotty Hasler making a move there. Tom Freer got the job done on Scott Hasler and took the lead. No, that's Thomas Freeman. Not Tom Freer, Thomas Freeman, sorry. Too many T's. We both got confused there, Paul. So Thomas Freeman got the move done for the lead of the motor race. So here I was thinking it was second, and Thomas Freeman took the lead for the motor race. Now Jordan Ross is having a look up the inside of Scott Hasler out of the turn. Looks like he's going to be on the right side of the road as they make their way up the hill down into this double left-hand corner. So Scott Hasler just slowly dropping off a little bit. Are we going to make their way through there cleanly? Is Scott Hasler going to give him some room? Looks like he will. Jordan Ross is just going to run him a little bit wide, and there's the job done there. Cody Deeth now a part of this one as well. Is he going to have a go down into this tricky braking section, down into the downhill right-handed, too far back to have anything to do there? But I tell you what, Scott Hasler leading the motor race into lap number 19. We're halfway or into the back end of this this lap, and he's now down into P3. He's got Cody Deeth, Tom Freer and Adam Briggs to worry about now.
Yeah, and in that moment there, and a couple of corners, this pack's ranged right up on everyone once again. There was a little bit of a gap there for a while from Tom Freer back in 5th. And yeah, this pack's starting to bunch up again, Aidan.
Yeah, we saw that in the first part of green flag running, and it's no surprise to see that happening as well. Obviously, with the draft, like now they make their way down onto the really long main straight. The draft is a really big component of Imola here in the TCR cars, and especially into the braking zones, you'll see them range right up onto the back each other. So there's no surprise to see these it's 8 cars now. It was 9 cars before the first green flag pit stops. It's now 8 cars that will be battling for the lead of the motor race. 9th position's Neville Mell, who's a further 5 seconds off the back. 2 seconds. 5 seconds off the back of this. 2 seconds, sorry, I'm looking at my live timing. 2 seconds off the back of this battle pack. You can see him just in the background there. That's Neville Mell just making his way through, and that's Aidan Ford in behind him as well. So that's your top 10 as we are 20 into 35, Paul. So good to see here around Imola. We've seen a couple of breakaway wins for the first 4 rounds here on the InterSim Esports Network. But I tell you what, it's definitely not that story tonight, 20 into 35. Any of the top 10 can take round 5 away tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to come down to those pit lane times, and not sure if the undercut there is going to work out too well tonight. Wayne Burke's back in 8th spot. We know Wayne loves his undercuts, and he's pulled those off quite well to have 2 wins in the 4 rounds. So we'll see how Wayne can try and get a bit of an undercut there, but he's a couple of seconds behind there in 8th at the moment.
A couple of seconds behind, but he's still on the back of the lead pack, so he's got to make some moves if he wants to try and be a contender for the win, because 8th is definitely not going to do that. Don't be surprised, Paul, if we can expect the 86er Wayne Burke to try the undercut again into the back end of this race to try and get track position and hold on. We've seen that work with him in 2 of the 4 rounds, but Tom Freeman, Jordan Ross, Scott Hasler and Cody Death in the first 4 position, even Tom Freer, Adam Briggs, everyone in this top 8 are going to have something to say about that. So this is where the strategy calls are going to play out. And who's going to actually want to make the big move? Who's going to want to try and make the move and possibly sacrifice the chance of getting to the end of this motor race, because quite quickly you can just make one little mistake and one lapse of judgment and that can be your race done. But at the moment, all the drivers at the front of the motor race are doing a great job. So Thomas Freeman, Jordan Ross and Scott Hasler leading your way. Last lap across, pretty much every driver in the top 8 had identical times. Tom Freeman a 156.7. He lost about 0.3 of a second to Jordan Ross in second. That's why you see this battle really close up between these top 8. But apart from that, everyone down to Wayne Burke had identical times with 156.3s there, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. And when you're in a chain like this, then you're going to have those similar times. Everyone's using a little bit of draft and can keep up with each other. So everyone's obviously running the same pace and going to have very similar times at the front there. And it's all about who behind can punch out those faster laps to try and catch up.
Yeah, 100%. And it's all about also risk management with these guys at this part of the motor race, Paul, because we're 21 into 35, still one more pit stop to go. A lot of these guys are probably in risk management mode, not trying to make too many crazy moves, because if you make one mistake now, that's going to put you out of the race. So I think they're all in risk management, sort of just settling down, getting themselves ready to make their final pit stop, make that as quick and as fast and as clean as possible. And then it's going to be gloves off for the end of this one. So we're in a little bit of the dull moment. We're a little bit in the calm before the storm, 21 into 35. It's still great racing at the front, but damage control, I think, for these top 8, because I think the winner's coming from this top 8 bar anything going drastically wrong. But who's it going to be? Is it going to be Tom Freeman, Jordan Ross, Scott Hasler, Cody Death, Tom Freer, Adam Briggs, Damon Mulqueen, or can it be Wayne Burke, who's up 32 positions, if you don't mind, off his starting position? Who do you think it's going to be, ladies? 24. Who do you think, ladies and gentlemen, who do you think is going to take this one out? Let us know on the chat who's going to win it. Will it be Freeman or Ross? Will it be Hasler, Death, Freer, Briggs, Mulqueen, Burke? Can it be Neville Mell in 9th position? Can we have a big accident in the last couple of laps and allow Neville Mel to get a part of this one as well. Let us know here on the chat. We want to interact with you. But I tell you what, let's take the opportunity. Let's go on board with a driver for another couple of laps. Give us a chance to get our breath back before we bring you all the action here for the final laps for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League here from Imola on the Indasim Esports Network. We're going to choose Adam Briggs in the 6th position in the 72. Turn up the volume. We'll give you a couple of laps around Imola on board with the 72 of Adam Briggs. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, how good was those images on the Indasim Esports Network on board with Adam Briggs. While we're watching that, Jordan Ross has got the job done at the front. Cody Deese made the move. Thomas Freeman, he had his work cut out on that lap. You saw the green car there getting absolutely swamped by everyone. But what good driving by all the drivers to not have an incident there as Tom Freer now gets the move done on Thomas Freeman. I thought he was going to chop the nose off there and we were going to see Tom Freer pointing in the wrong direction. But I tell you what, Paul, how good was those images here on the Indasim Esports Network? I told you these drivers were going to wait till the last pit stop. We haven't even got there yet. And now's the time for them. They're putting the hammer down, trying to make these moves, getting into the pit stop window now, trying to get track position. How good was that?
Yeah, definitely. The cards are coming onto the table and the hats are off, and they're not holding anything back now. So everyone at home tuning in on the Indasim Esports Network, they're in the hot seat there, watching all the action there as Scott Hassler and Adam Briggs are going toe-to-toe at the moment for the 5th spot.
Yeah, they're definitely elbows out here. Damon Mulqueen, Wayne Burke, just watching this battle unfold in front of them at the moment, going, come on boys, keep this going. We want a part of this as well. But Adam Briggs really trying to get the job done on Scott Hassler. You'll have a look. He had a little bit of a feint there. So he had a feint. He wasn't going to actually make the move. He's just trying to get into the mirrors there of Scott Hassler and trying to get him to make a mistake. Scott Hassler's a little bit more wise than that. And he goes, no, mate, that's not going to happen this time around. But Adam Briggs getting getting a good run down into the final 2 turns here. Is he going to make a move? He is down into the second last turn in the downhill braking section. There's going to be a little bit of contact as they make their way through the second last turn. Is he going to be able to get the move done? He gets that job done. So Adam Briggs now makes the move up into the 5th position over Scott Hasler. And Scott Hasler goes, "No, I'm out of this, boys. I'm going into pit lane. I want out of this." Jordan Ross has done the same thing as well. So good move there, I think, by Scotty Hasler. He's gone, "No, I'm out of this one. I'm gone." But it is Cody Deeth leading the way now after Jordan Ross coming to pit lane. Jordan Ross came into pit lane with, there's the VB warrior, Brad Fenley, in his traditional VB paint. He's in 20th position. Good old Brad Fenley doing a great job. Hope to see him on Friday night in the Supercar Series. We saw him last night as well.
I definitely saw a lot of VBs there last night, Aidan. So hopefully he's there on Friday. I'll have another run with him.
Yeah, I saw that you had a little bit of a battle with him. Unfortunately, I wasn't down there to be able to have the battle. I know you weren't down there. You're inside the top 10, but yeah, he apparently he's had a bit of a ding-dong battle there, which would have been good to watch. I know that Andy Race Control tonight had a good watch of that today, and we heard a little bit about it. So hopefully you can reignite that battle on Friday night for what's going to be probably a 50-car field. But 25 into 35 at the moment. It is Cody Deeth, Tom Freer and Adam Briggs leading the way. Where's it going to put Jordan Ross, though? He's out of pit lane. He's in 6th position at the moment. Where's it going to put him when he comes out? Well, when these drivers decide to do their pit stop. So we'll see how that happens. Tom Freer now makes the move on Cody Deeth down into the tricky chicane, into the back end of this section, back end of this track. So Tom Freer now takes the lead of the motor race. So Tom dropped a little bit through those first green flag cycles. He's now made his way back up into 1st position. He's a lap or 2 off strategy with the likes of Jordan Ross. Wayne Burke's still sitting there as well. So we'll see how it plays out, Paul, how these strategies... We didn't see the undercut work drastically well in the first lot of green flag pit stops. So it's going to be interesting to see. And as Tom just flashes his lights there on a lapped car, trying to get him out of the way, how this undercut works, whether it's really going to work or whether we're just going to see them all range up into an 8-9 car battle for the lead of this one with 9 to go.
And Damon Mulqueen in 5th there has just come into pit lane as well. So it's going to be interesting to see, Aidan. And you put it out there to the audience, and no one's actually dropped a few names in the chat there. So you put it out to the audience who they think was going to come home with the chockies tonight. But Aidan, who do you think will take the win on this one?
You like throwing me under the bus. Or at least I'm going to throw a driver under the bus anyway, aren't I? So if I was to look at who I think's going to... if I was to think who's going to get this one, I'd put a pineapple on Jordan Ross. I think he did the right job with his pit strategy there. He had 2.5 seconds up the road. He could see the guys battling in front of him, behind him. He's come in, he's served his last pit stop, and now he's just going to set some quick laps. And he'll possibly, I'd suggest, come out about 2.5 to 3 seconds in the lead of this motor race once Tom Freer, Cody Deeth, Adam Briggs and Wayne Burke serve their final pit stop. And he'll be in a good position to possibly take this one out, bar anything going drastically wrong. So Jordan Ross is my pick, Paul. I'll go straight back onto you with the same question.
Well, I can't rule past our championship leader there, Tom Freer. He's definitely in a prime position there, and Jordan Ross a teammate as well. So Tom Freer just making his way in. But who I'd really like to see take a win tonight would be Cody Deeth. He's had quite a solid race, and he's been up there all night and doing a great job as well. So it'd really be good to see Cody Deeth get a win tonight.
Yeah, I'd second those thoughts, mate. He's done a sensational job. He's driven with a smart head, mature head on his shoulders. He's had the pace all night, and to take it to these JK Science Synergy sim racing cars at the front, he's done a great job. Hasn't had much incidents. I think it'd be really great to see him up in the W circle or in the winners circle tonight. But I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have a look at this.
He's jumped top. Oh no!
Oh no! He's had an incident in pit lane. There you go. You've just done the commentator's curse, Paul.
he jumped Tom Freer in pit lane too, so he was looking good there, and not sure what happened on the exit. So definitely put the commentator's curse on him now.
But that's my man that I've picked, the 143 Synergy Sim Racing entry of Jordan Ross, taking the lead of the motor race, 27 into 35. He's got 3 seconds up the road on Tom Freer. Exactly what I thought the gap would be when he come out and everyone took their pit stops, Paul. So bang on there with my race strategy, but can Jordan Ross keep the lead over Tom Freer? Tom Freer's slowly taking a tenth every corner out of Jordan Ross at the moment. So we are the 27 into 35. There's a lot to play out yet. These boys might end up with a little bit of a ding-dong battle, but have a look who's sitting back there in third, Paul. Wayne Burke in the 86. He's coming. The ever-quick Wayne Burke. He's now got clear air in front of him, and he can set sail for the leaders. Tom Freer and Jordan Ross, they better be looking in their rear vision mirror, because he is 2.6 seconds behind the lead battle of the motor race. So Wayne Burke, does he have anything for Jordan Ross and Tom Freer in the final 7 or 8 laps of this one for round number 5 at Imola, Paul?
And I was keeping my eye on that. I was just looking, and I was just looking at when Wayne Burke pitted, and he actually pitted at the same time as Tom Freer on the same lap, on lap 26. Jordan Ross on lap 24 there. So that undercut gave Jordan Ross about a 3-second gap there over his teammates Tom Freer and Wayne Burke. But it's going to be interesting to see. Adam Briggs there, he's definitely coming as well. He's actually slowly closing that gap on Wayne Burke, ever so slightly. So can't rule out Adam Briggs yet either for a podium spot.
Yeah, definitely can't. We'll just have a look at their last laps around. No, we'll actually wait for the next lap. So they've just done their out lap. So Jordan Ross has obviously come in the lap before. He just did a 156.37. So the drivers behind of Tom Freer, Wayne Burke, Adam Briggs, Adam Briggs, in fourth, did their out lap. So let's have a look at the pace this time around when they come across the strike, and we'll get a true indication of what race pace is between the top 3 or 4, and see who's making gains on each other and who's going to be in a position to possibly battle Jordan Ross at the front of this one. As you see, a lap car just getting out of the way there. You can see Wayne Burke with his flashies on. It's not like Brett Campbell. He's not talking. Tom Freer, he's not talking like Brett does when he flashes the lights. He's literally flashing his lights saying, "Get out of my way, I'm coming." So there's the gap between first and second. There is a lap car in front of them at the moment, which is allowing this gap to just sort of steady and stagnate and slowly actually get a little bit bigger between Jordan Ross and Tom Freer. And it's about the same gap. You can see Wayne Burke just there in the background. So lap traffic playing a little bit of a part into this one, Paul, 28 into 35. Hopefully we can see them get out of the way shortly and see whether the likes of Tom Freer and Wayne Burke have anything for Jordan Ross at the front. That gap is still at about 2.7 seconds. So we'll see how this evolves as Jordan Ross makes his way down into the final 2 corners at Imola here for the 29th time of 35 of asking. So he'll make his way through the final turn, this time across the strike. It'll be lap 30 or 35. There'll be 6 to go, and he'll go into this lap with 2.6 seconds the better over Tom Freer, who's still got that lap car in front of him at the moment. So Tom Freer having all types of trouble trying to get past that lap car to be able to battle for the lead of this motor race. He's going to have to take at least 3 or 4 tenths of a second a lap out of Jordan Ross once he passes this lap car. Does he have enough for that? No, I don't think he does, but he's got that move done. So that's unlocked Tom Freer, and he is good to go to chase down Jordan Ross. He's got rid of that lap car, and Tom Freer will have his sights on Jordan Ross very, very shortly. So last lap around, we told you we'd let you know what the times were. Jordan Ross with a 156.2, Tom Freer 155.93. So he took 3 tenths of a second out of your leader, Jordan Ross, even though Tom Freer was dealing with lap traffic. So 3 tenths of a second out of your leader, Wayne Burke with a 156.3, same time as your leader. So Tom Freer is the one to watch, ladies and gentlemen. That gap is coming down. It's now to 2.4 seconds with 6 laps to go this time across the strike. So Tom Freer setting some blistering lap times, trying to chase down his teammate, the 143 of Jordan Ross, for the lead of this motor race. But lap traffic is going to play a part again. Jordan Ross is just trying to put those lap cars in front of him at the moment, because that's the strategy to play, because as he has drivers in between, it's going to make it harder and harder for Tommy Freer to try and jump up and win this one, as there's another lap car in front of Jordan Ross. So 2 lap cars in front of Jordan and Tom, another lap car in front of Jordan there. So it's probably stopping this battle igniting as much as we thought it probably could. But I tell you what, it's still anybody's. Anything can happen. Do not take your eyes off the screen here from the InterSim Esports Network. It's heating up that time. We'll have a look at their lap times this time across. The gap is still at about that 2.5 seconds. It's probably gone out another tenth this lap with the lap traffic. So we'll see as they come across the start-finish line. So a 156.18 as opposed to a 156.14 for Tom Freer, and Wayne Burke with a 156.23. So same goes there, Paul. Tom Freer's definitely going to want to make his way around the lap traffic, as he's got past 1. Now he's got another 2 in front. So every time he looks like he gets a little bit of an opportunity to possibly get a little bit of an advantage there on Jordan, Jordan just puts another car in between him and Tom.
And that's the advantage of being the leader and having a little bit of pace as well about you, as Freer just gets the job done there. So now it's 1 car between them, but Jordan Ross looking ahead as he is, and he sort of stretched that gap a little bit because of that those lap cars there. So he's got a little bit of a gap up his sleeve there with 5.5 odd laps to go, but. Can't rule out Tom Freer. He's still got a little bit of work cut out for him, though.
Yeah, he's got 1 lap car now between himself and Jordan Ross. It's better than 2, but the gap has now in the last lap extended out another 0.2 of a second. So Tom Freer definitely has his work cut out for him. Wayne Burke at the moment, he's pretty much got that 3rd place sewn up, which is definitely the Hard Charger Award tonight. 29 spots, started out of 32. He's up into 3rd. So Wayne Burke, he's about on pace with the leaders at the moment, but Jordan Ross and Tom Freer are about 2.7 seconds, the gap between them, and it's a further 3.7 second gap. Adam Briggs in 4th position now. He's 2.6 seconds down the road from Wayne Burke. He's got a 3-second gap over Thomas Freeman in 5th. So back to Thomas Freeman now. There you are there, Thomas Freeman. But he's got Scott Hasler right behind him as well. So the battle for the minors, 5th and 6th at the moment, is heating up. Thomas Freeman, Scott Hasler, about 6. That's what 0.6 of a second looks like for 5th place in this motor race. So we'll see how this plays out, whether Thomas Freeman and Scott Hasler have a little bit of a ding-dong battle in the closing laps of this one. Tell you what, though, Scotty Hasler's had a good run tonight. He started out of 9th. He's up into 6th position. Thomas Freeman started out of 4th. He's back into 5th. So Thomas Freeman gone backwards a little bit in this one as one of the MSR cars just get out of the way of this little battle, and allows Thomas Freeman and Scott Hasler to keep fighting this battle into the back end of the motor race, 31 into 35. I'm watching that front split at the moment. We're back on board with Jordan Ross. Good timing there, Paul. That gap has just gone out to another 0.2 of a second over Tom Freer. So Jordan Ross has just put another 2.5 seconds, 2.5 tenths rather, on Tom Freer. Last time across, he actually put 0.3 of a second on your second place getter at the moment of Tom Freer. Wayne Burke hasn't got anything on Tom Freer at the moment, so it's stagnating at the front with about a 3-second gap. Jordan Ross to Tom Freer, about the same, 3 to 4 seconds to Wayne Burke, and then about the same to Adam Briggs in 4th. And then, you've got the Thomas Freeman-Scott Hasler battle happening for 5th and 6th. So 31 into 35, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're enjoying all the action here on the InterSim Esports Network from what is round 5 of the MSR TCR League here from the famous Imola circuit. Jordan Ross leading the way over Tom Freer, Wayne Burke, Adam Briggs and Scott Hasler, as Jordan Ross comes onto the main straight for what will be the 4th last time tonight. He'll take the 32nd lap here, and Jordan Ross doing a great job, but just in saying that, the gap between himself and Tom Freer has dropped another 0.2 of a second in the last 2 points.
Anyway, he did blow that gap out to a 3-second lead, and he is sort of stretching his legs a little bit again. That's at that 3-second mark, so he has gained a little bit over Tom Freer.
It's a yo-yo there, Paul. We have a look at the last lap time, 156.46 to a 156.48, Jordan and Tom. So you can't split them, identical lap times. That's why it's looking like a yo-yo. It looks like that Tom Freer's quicker in certain parts of the track, and so is Jordan Ross. So we see the live timing come down, we get a little bit excited, and then we get to the back end of the lap, and then it just goes straight back out. So I can say now that the live timing's telling me it's a 2.7 second gap end dropping, but it might change as we get onto the back end of the lap. So this is how close these drivers are, ladies and gentlemen. It's no surprise. Synergy Sim Racing teammates of Tom Freer and Jordan Ross, no surprise to see them nearly identical time. I'm sure they've done a lot of laps together in all different categories here on the iRacing platform, but tell you what, it's now down to 2.6. We'll see this time around. Now we can actually visually see, with no cars between, that gap slowly dropping down. So Tom Freer trying really hard to get on the back of Jordan Ross. Is he going to run out of laps? That is the question. 32 of 35. Next time across the strike, it will be 33 to go. But in saying that, see, it was down to 2.4, now back out to 2.7. It's that yo-yo gap. But I tell you what, it keeps us excited here on the InterSim Esports Network. I hope you're excited as we are, because we're about to bring you the final 3 laps of round number 5 of the MSR TCR League. Is it going to be Jordan Ross? Is he going to hold on over Thomas Freer? Is lap traffic going to play a part in this? I don't know, Paul. Jordan Ross has had good strategy all night. He'd definitely be kicking himself if he can't get the W tonight.
Yeah, definitely, and still got some lap traffic to navigate in the last couple of laps, so you don't want to put a foot wrong when you're sitting in the top seat there, and just got to take your time, make those passes when safe, and stay out of trouble for another 2 laps.
Yeah, well, 2.5 laps rather left to navigate from the 143 of Jordan Ross. That gap's just staying at around about the 2.7 to 2.8 seconds a lap as we go back to that battle for 5th and 6th between Scott Hasler and Thomas Freeman. So this battle's still raging. Scott Hasler's got the move done on Thomas Freeman. So he was about 4 tenths behind Tom Freeman, and he's got that job done. So Scott Hasler now moved up into the 5th position. He's got a lap car in front of him now. He needs to negotiate with, that's Tristan Koch in front of him. So he's got to navigate a lap traffic. Well, he's trying to defend Tommy Freeman there in the 6th position. So this is not ideal for Scott Hasler in the closing stages of this one. Thomas Freeman is going to be licking his lips on this one, as you can see him ranging up. Tristan's just going to move off to the side here and let these guys have a battle as they make their way down into the tight chicane here. And that was very lucky there by Scott Hasler to have the gentleman of Tristan Koch just let him pass. But this battle is going to reignite again. I reckon Tom Freeman will come back and have one more shot possibly at Scott Hasler with only a couple of laps to go next time across the strike as they make their way through the final 2 turns. There will be 2 laps to go here for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League from Imola. Jordan Ross has still got that at the gap at the front of 2.7, but this is the battle for the minors, 5th and 6th. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. Scott Hasler and Thomas Freeman. Oh, there's a big incident. Oh, and we've got cars in the fence. Is this going to be a caution? Are we going to have a caution late? Or is it going to keep going green? We're about to find out. Scott Hasler makes his way through there. Tom Freeman made his way through as well, but that's dropped him off the back of the battle. So that's put Scott Hasler a second up the road. So not sure what happened there as we go back to the leader of Jordan Ross. 2.3 seconds. We'll quickly show you the replay of what happened as they're on their penultimate lap. We'll go back to the replay and see what happened down the main straight at Imola. That was a big incident, a big lick for one of the drivers down the main straight. So we just go back to that replay. We got Brock Smith there we're on board with. I think the incident happens in front. Yeah, so Matthew Graham just coming down a little bit on the driver on the inside. Big tank slapper off the inside wall. It's going to bounce him straight across in front of the oncoming traffic. Oh, and it just sends the other driver straight into the fence. And Brock Smith has just gone straight into the fence. We're going to see the driver here, Christopher Tomlin, chop caught up in that one as well. So Chop rather, nowhere to go. Christopher Tomlin, he's got a wheel going in his bluey livery. He loves a bit of bluey, Christopher Tomlin. But we'll go back on live with the leaders of the motor race, and we're going to bring you the final lap here for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League. It is Jordan Ross leading his way across the line for the white flag. Tom Free is a further 2.5 seconds down the road. You can see him just in behind. It looks like Jordan Ross, this is his race to lose. He started out of P number 2. He's in P number 1. His teammate Tom Freer started off the pole. He's in P number 2. So it's a bit of a change between the Synergy Sim Racing entries of Tom Freer and Jordan Ross, but they're still number 1 and 2. Wayne Burke, the driver of the night, he's still holding down 3rd position, 5 seconds down the road. You can see him just in the background there. Adam Briggs is a little bit too far behind to have anything to do with fighting for the podium of this one. But Jordan Ross will keep on board with him for the final lap. Your top 3 is pretty much set, bar anything going drastically wrong. Jordan Ross, Tom Freer and Wayne Burke. Jordan Ross holding that gap down. Tom Freer did take 0.2 of a second out of Jordan last time around, but it's the last lap, that 2.4 seconds. It's a little bit too far gone. He's not going to pull that out of Jordan Ross at the moment. Anything going drastically wrong from Jordan. So at this stage, Paul, they make their way up the hill down into the final chicane before the double left-hander onto the main straight. It's going to be a Synergy Sim Racing 1, 2 and 3, if you don't mind. So Jordan Ross makes his way through the final chicane down the hill into this very fast downhill right-hander, downhill braking zone into the final 2 left-hand turn. So he'll come down here, he'll pull it up nice and squarely, just got to make his way through the final 2 turns, and he'll be the winner for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League. 1 corner to go, and it will be as Jordan Ross in the 143 Synergy Sim Racing entry comes across the line down at Imola. He will take what will be round number 5 of the MSR TCR League here at Imola, and Jordan Ross takes the win. Tom Freer will come across in 2nd place, and with the drive of the night will be Wayne Burke in 3rd place for what will be a Synergy Sim Racing 1, 2, 3, Paul. What an amazing drive by that team tonight. Adam Briggs holds on for a great drive to come home in 4th. Scott Hasler in 5th. Oh, a big battle between Thomas Freeman and Scotty Hasler there, and Damon Mulqueen there. So that'll be 6th, 7th. We'll let the drivers just slowly finish off and finish off the race before we bring you the final results here. Jared Knight in 8th position. So Jared a little bit off kilter there with his strategy. It's probably where I expected him to finish, but still a good job there by Jared Knight. Started out of 16th, come home with a nice solid top 10 in 8th position. So good night out there by the 222 there at Jared Knight. He'll come home in 8th as he just makes his way across the start-finish line. Synergy Sim Racing from Matthew Brunt there in 9th, so another Synergy Sim Racing car in the top 10, and Nathan Smith will round out your top 10. We've got Aidan Ford there, another good driver because he's got a good name, Aidan Ford from MSR, Team MSR there, coming home in the 11th position, Paul. But I tell you what, we'll let these drivers just finish off. Russ Green in 12th position, making his way through the final 2 turns. Mate, what a great night of racing here for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League. How good was that? There was no runaway winners for the first 2 portions of the race. That final pit stop strategy pretty much sort the races out from the contenders, and that's what put Jordan Ross in the position to win this thing.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see a nice close battle between the top 10 cars for at least half of the race there, if not 3/4 of the race. So definitely good to see there, and the gap on those drivers just closing up, and yeah, everyone having a good clean race at the front there, giving everyone a lot of respect as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Ruben Phelps coming home in 12th as well. Good result by the Kiwi there. Ruben Phelps, oval based, but come across to the road, and he's finally getting his head around it. He comes home with a 12th. The VB Warrior of Brad Fenley comes home in 14th. Tristan Koch in 15th as well. So some of those boys, good to see those guys in the top 15 for what was an absolute stellar field here tonight for round number 5, Paul. I'll just leave you with it for 1 second. I'll be right back with you, but I'll let you take the last couple of drivers across the line before we do the post-race.
Oh, good. And David Leslie coming in there in 16th, up 7 spots from where he started. Chop just getting a little bit caught out in that last couple of laps in that incident there, getting the front bumper of his car taken off. And the old Bluey machine looking a little bit sad now, but coming home in 17th, up 11 spots there. And we'll just run through the results as we've got those ready to go. So
awesome.
Take it away, Aidan.
Awesome. So we'll run through your results here for what was round 5 of the MSR TCR League here from Imola. It was Jordan Ross taking home the chocolates tonight, with Tom Freer and Wayne Burke rounding out your 3 for a Synergy Sim Racing 1, 2 and 3. Adam Briggs and Scott Hasler will round out your 5. Tommy Freeman and Damon McQueen there in 6th and 7th. 8th position was Jared Knight. 9th position was Matthew Brunt, and Nathan Smith rounded out your 10. Aidan Ford, Ruben Phelps, Russ Green, Brad Fenley and Tristan Koch came home in your 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th place respectively. David Leslie 16th, Mel in 17th, and Chris Chop Tomlin in 18th. So we go across to the 19th position. It was I'll just look at my other thing at the moment. As we go across to the 19th position, it was Peter Kelleher with 20th of Jason Thomas. Neville Mell in 21st. Troy Mortensen home in the 22nd position. 23rd will be Matthew Graham. 24th, Brock Smith. Jai Schultz home in the 25th position. Lockhart Brown and Brownlee, after a solid start to this race, home in the 26th position. Cody Death in 27th. Cameron McLeod in 28th. Eddie Beswick in 29th, and in the 30th position was Dylan De Bono. S. Patterson in the 30th. Patterson in 31st. Blake Urquhart in 32nd. Dylan Burse in 33rd. Damian Johnston in 34th. Luke Swan in 35th. 36th was Peter Pavlovich, and rounding out your 37 starters here for what was round 5 of the MSR TCR League from Imola was Matthew Boylett. So, Paul, what a great night of racing. Absolutely amazing by all of the drivers. But we'll bring the drivers up into the podium. We'll into the broadcast booth. We'll let you have a chat to the drivers here before we let them go. So we'll bring them up into the broadcast booth now. And we've got them all into the broadcast booth here, mate. So we'll start off, obviously, with the 3rd place getter. And the absolute hard charger award goes to Wayne Burke, mate. Wayne, sensational drive. 2 wins in the series in the first 4 rounds. Not the best qualifying from your own standards. But I tell you what, mate, give it a little bit of luck there. You would have been in the fight for the win of that one. But you've got to be happy coming home with P3 after where you started.
Yeah, for sure. Had a bit of fun passing some cars. Got through the first straight shunt, which was a bit scary. I actually thought I got a bit of damage, but I got pretty lucky there. It was good to finish P3. Just ran out of laps. I think the slow pace at the start with the fuel saving really helped me.
So give the viewers a little bit of an insight. Bit of a bugger up with qualifying, or didn't make it for qualifying, like had something else on? Like, why'd you start in the position that you're in, mate? What put you in that position to have to fight your way through the field?
I was having some dinner, a bit like Jake last week. Having some dinner, and to be honest, I thought it'd be a bit different and have some fun from the back and see what happens.
Well, it definitely worked out for you tonight, mate. Biggest charge of the night, up something like 27 positions, mate. So up into P3 and Bear, all I say it, mate. Synergy Sim Racing 1, 2, 3. You guys have got to be stoked with that. Yeah,
super happy. It's always good to finish 1, 2, 3. Like if you have to finish behind someone, it's better to finish behind your teammate, I suppose.
Yeah, most definitely. But we look forward to seeing you for next round, mate. We'll finish it up real quickly. Big shout out to all those sponsors, everyone involved for your P3, mate. Big congratulations. Great to watch you drive from the back. It was great to commentate. I hope you enjoy watching it back, because I tell you what, we enjoyed it here in the broadcast booth, and I hope all the viewers enjoyed it as well. So a big shout out to all those sponsors and everyone involved for your P3.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Have to thank the guys at Synergy and JK Science. Thanks very much.
No worries at all. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Your third place getter here for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League from Imola. It was Wayne Burke. It moves us straight across to your second place getter, Tom Freer. Tom, mate, great drive in second. I thought you had something for Jordan there. Lap traffic probably played a little bit of a part in that in the final, say 7 or 8 laps. Would you agree with that? But Jordan had good strategy anyway. But you looked like you had a little bit more pace on some laps, but that lap traffic definitely probably played a little bit of a part to stop you actually having a bit of a free rein to try and get up to Jordan.
Not really so much the traffic. I think I actually underfueled myself and stopped just a little bit more than I wanted to. So I was probably 2 litres short from being able to come out of the pits and just push as hard as I could. So for the first sort of 3 laps out of the pits, I was in save mode, and then I was able to get going from there. But I feel like if I had that 3 laps where I could have pushed, I might have been able to just sneak into the draft for the last lap. But yeah, credit to Jordan. He nailed his strategy, and yeah, he won the race because of it.
Do you guys, a little bit of an insight, do you guys in your chat together, do you actually talk about strategy together and what yous are doing, or it's literally all bars out, like yous run your own strategy, your own race against each other to try and push each other to the front? Or do you talk about what strategy you guys are running while you're in chat?
A little bit. We're talking a little bit about it during the race, but to be honest, most of the conversation was pretty wayward and just about how our days went, really. But no, we speak about it a little bit, and that we sort of all get a gauge off one another of what we can do. So I obviously listened to what my teammates were doing, and I thought I'll try doing it this way. And unfortunately for me, Jordan just absolutely nailed it and ran away in the front. But yeah, all the boys do their jobs and talk and communicate, which probably contributes to P1 through to P4, I think.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I made the comment on the broadcast that we could see that Jordan was going for the undercut on that last stop. He stopped, I think, a lap or 2 earlier than you, and then you obviously, you're saying with you didn't quite take enough fuel or enough to be able to go hard to the end. So it would have been really interesting to see how that played out if all things equal would have panned out. I guarantee you it would have been, or it was interesting enough finish as it was, but it definitely would have been a lot closer. But mate, big congratulations on your P2. Got the pole position tonight. Couldn't quite back it up with the chockies, but you got to be happy with the P2. Your turn to have a big shout out to all those sponsors and everyone involved.
Yeah, well, firstly, thanks to Synergy and all the stuff that they do, but see, big thanks to our sponsors, Wave Runner Performance Centre, Smith & Sons Renovations and Extensions, and there's a whole list of other ones, which I'm sure are on the car that help us out. And yeah, it's great to have them on board and good to have them up the front of the field as well.
No worries at all, mate. Congratulations once again on your P2. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, your second place getter tonight for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League here from Imola. It was Tommy Freer, but we move across to the man of the moment. The man who got the chockies tonight, Jordan Ross, mate. Tell you what, early on in that one, she was a bit early caution. That stacked up the field again, and then you got a lot of green flag racing, obviously, all the way to the end. But strategy got the job done there for you, mate, and you got to be happy with a W tonight.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, happy with that. Unusual that I will out-strategize a couple of guys, so it's not too bad. But no, 1, 2, 3 for the team, so we're all happy.
Mate, quality of racing tonight. Give us your feedback on that. I saw, in the first 4 rounds, we did see a couple of drivers, yourself being one of them. The Synergy guys have been pretty dominant at the front of this series so far. There's been a couple of stretch outs. Even though they're 40-car grids most weeks, there's been a few stretch outs in race margins from the front couple to, say, 4th, 5th, 6th or 7th. We didn't really see that tonight. We saw probably the first 8 to 10 pretty much in a freight train for the first 3 quarters of the race. Was it good being a part of that? A different track obviously creates different racing. This is a lot different to the likes of Phillip Island, etc. Good to be a part of that and good seeing that quality of racing at the front.
Yeah, mate, it's good. But, I mean, when you drive these things, you want to just go as fast as you can all the time. But as there's been a couple of races in the season where like where you've tried to brake and they're a hard car to break the draft from the people behind you. And there's been a few races this year where Berkey's played patience game and save fuel. So I think that was on everyone's mind tonight that we've all got to save fuel. So it was a bit boring at the start there, but once that, just before the end of just before the second pit stop, you sort of have to press the button and go. And yeah, I finished with nothing in the tank on fumes, so just worked out.
Well, it's funny you say that because we mentioned that on the broadcast. We go back and watch it back. Just before you went into that that last pit stop, we saw you all put the hammer down. You were sitting there. I called it pretty much status quo, the calm before the storm, and that's exactly what happened. You got to that point, and then people started to make the moves before the final pit stop, and that was pretty much the decisive part of your race because you made a couple of moves there, and then you decided, well, I want to get out of this, and I'm going to go into pit lane and serve my pit stop just that 1 or 2 laps earlier and come out and just run hard to the end, and it definitely paid off for you tonight.
Yeah. Just before I think it was a couple of laps, I was fighting with Freeman, and he sort of wiped himself out off the front of my car, and then there was a bit of a gap, so it was time for me to pit. So the guys couldn't all close that gap back again, use my drive, and worked out in the end.
Most definitely did, mate, and you got the W tonight. But congratulations on the win here for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League, mate. Of course, now your chance to have those big shout-out to sponsors and everyone involved.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Everyone at Synergy, of course, JK Science, DGD Customs, Novus Glass, Aftershock, Dr. Epoxy. Of course, you guys for rolling up and giving your time, and the people at MSR, as a team, we're enjoying the series.
No worries at all, mate. It's our pleasure, and obviously the MSR guys, their pleasure for putting on the series for what is a great series. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is the winner for round number 5 of the MSR TCR League here from Imola. It was Jordan Ross from Synergy Sim Racing. But Paul, mate, we're bringing to the end of the broadcast. How good was that first? Give me a little bit of a debrief on how tonight went from your end.
Well, Aidan, yeah, I was strapped in. I had my seatbelt on the whole night, and it was definitely some good racing up the front there. A little bit of unfortunate there for Cody Deeth. He was showing a lot of pace and was up there as well, looking for a podium spot. Apparently he had a blackout on the screen when he was coming out pit lane there, so he just pulled over and parked the car there. So a night that could have been for Cody Deeth, and I'm sure we'll see him next week again having another crack. And yeah, definitely some good close racing. The field there narrowed up, and good to see a 1-2-3 for the Synergy boys. And yeah, looking forward to Knock Hill next week, Aidan. So new track to iRacing, and looking forward to seeing how everyone fares around Knock Hill.
Yeah, definitely. And while you segue into Knock Hill, we're going to stay in the European countries, and we're going to go to Knock Hill next week for next Wednesday. We're going to go over to the UK into Knock Hill for what is a new track on the iRacing server for what will be round number 6 of the MSR TCR League. But I tell you what, before we get there, Paul, we got to bring you all the action of the final round of the Australasian Supercar E-Series, brought to you by Ray Wright Rural Gander. It's going to be on the Indersim Esports Network this coming Sunday night from approximately 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you may be. Indy 400, it's going to be 160 laps of supercars around the famous Brickyard, Indianapolis. 22 or 23 points between your reigning champion and championship leader of Justin Witcher and Scott Rankin, who's in second position. So be sure to tune into that one because it's anyone's championship going into the final round here on Sunday night. But as we just said, we will be live again after Sunday next Wednesday night for what will be round number 6 of the MSR TCR League from Knock Hill. We're going to be here again, same time, same place, 6:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, wherever you may be. But that brings to the end round number 5 of the MSR TCR League. It was Tom Freer, Wayne Burke, and Freeman in the top 3 tonight. So, sorry, Jordan Ross, Tom Freer. Anyway, I've got Paul talking to me here. But it was a great night here for round number 5. Synergy Sim Racing 1, 2, and 3. We look forward to bringing you all the action here next Wednesday from Knock Hill, but before then we'll bring you all the action for the Australasian Supercar E-Series on Sunday night. But from Paul and myself and everyone at the InterSim Esports Network, we hope you enjoyed all the action here for round number 5, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday night for the Australasian Supercar E-Series, and then on Wednesday night again for round number 6 of the MSR TCR League. Have a good night.